Alright, so to solve a system of equations by graphing, we start off with two equations, right? A system of equations is always going to be two equations. Okay? And if we're going to graph those two equations, the first step is probably going to make sense to be what? Solve for y. Okay? If you need to graph equations, we know that in order to graph an equation, you've got to have y by itself. Okay? So that's obviously your first step, is you're going to solve both of the equations for y. Because now instead of just graphing one line, you're going to graph two of them. Alright? After you solve them for y, you can graph them both and find the point where those two lines intersect. Alright. I'm going to be nice. And I'm not going to make you graph these equations by hand. I'm going to let you guys use your calculator to find the intersection point. Okay? Now, I'm not going to write up on the board the buttons that you need to push. But if you need to write them down in your notes so that you remember, that would probably be a good plan. Okay? So make sure you have your calculator. So in this system of equations, okay, our two equations, what's our first step if we're going to solve by graphing? To solve both equations for y. So do we need to do anything to those two equations? No, they're already solved for y. Okay, so that part's good. That part's taken care of. So now, on our calculator, okay, everyone on your calculator, what do you think the first thing that we're going to hit is? Y equals. We need to put our equations in there. Okay, so the first button you're going to hit is you're going to hit the y equals button, and you're going to enter your two equations. 3x plus 1 and negative x plus 5. Okay. Huh? The x is the, right there. Does everyone see the x button? Oop. Everyone see the x button? Okay, right below mode, next to alpha, next to stat, above apps. Okay, there's a bunch of variables on that button. Does everyone have those two equations in their calculator? Yes?
No.
Okay, we all good? Got those equations? Alright. So what do you think the next button we might want to hit is? Graph. We need to look at that graph. Okay, so everyone hit graph. Huh? You got, what does it say? Error what? Alright, does everyone have a graph on their screen that looks like mine?
Yep.
You said no. Do
Listen.
you have the equations in it? Yeah. What does it say? Does it say anything? And you don't have your equations. You have y equals in your equations? Alright, is everyone good on the graph? Yes? Okay. So, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to hit the second button, and you're going to hit the trace button, and you're going to come up with this menu. Okay, you're trying to get to that calc menu. So, second and the trace button next to graph. Okay? You're going to go down to number 5, which is intersect. Okay, that makes sense, because when you solve a system of equations, you're trying to find the intersection, right? So if we're trying to find the intersection, we want to know where they intersect. Okay? So we're going to choose number 5, and we're going to hit enter. And it's going to come up on the graph. Does everyone see the little flashy thing on the graph? Yeah? Okay? And it says first curve. So basically what it's asking is, it wants to know what the two lines are that you want to know where they intersect. Okay? So I'm going to hit enter, and when you hit enter, you're going to notice the little flashy thing goes to the other line. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay? So we hit enter that this is the first line that we want to know, and we're going to hit enter because that's the other line that we want to know, right? And then at the bottom it's going to say guess. Does everyone say guess? Everyone see where it says guess now?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're going to move the cursor over until you get really, really close to the point.
On the point, I'm just close to it.
Close to it. And you're going to hit enter again. And what does your calculator tell you the answer is? What did we say our answer was going to be? 2 points? 1 point, right? It's either 1 point, tons and tons and tons of points, or no points, right? And in this case, it is the point right? The x value of your point and the y value of your point is what it tells you on here. It tells you x is 1 and y is 4. Y'all good with that? Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Let's move on to the next one.
Wasn't do this one, Mom?
I'll do this one with you.
Huh?
I'll do it with you. Can we go right to our calculator for this problem? No, why not? You have to solve for y. Okay, you cannot graph equations unless they're solved for y. Your calculator doesn't always do all the work for you, okay? You're going to have to solve equations for y so that you can plug them in your calculator. So, I have y plus 2x equals 2, and I have y plus x equals 1. So what am I going to do over here? Subtract that 2x, right? So I end up with y equals negative 2x plus 2. And over here I'm going to subtract x. So what does y equal? Negative x plus 1. Okay? Signs are important. If you have 2x minus 2 and you try to find the intersection, you're not going to find the right point. That's where I said it when we were doing the focusing quiz. It is so important to watch those signs, because if you mess up one sign, the whole answer is wrong. Okay? So go ahead and plug those in and find the intersection. And then I move close to the point where they intersect, and then I hit enter, and it gives me my intersection of 1, 0. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to have you do one all by yourself.
Yay.